And welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We are having such a conversation already, and I'm so looking forward to bring you guys in on this next segment. Now, for the month of March, as you know, it is recognized as Women's Month. And so for the remainder of March, every week, we want to engage dynamic women who have contributed in one way or another to development, to recognizing women as well. And so to start off the panel discussion this morning, we have some dynamic ladies that will be guiding us in this conversation. It's all about women who gave for us to gain. Now, I have some ladies here with me. I have Miss Kathy Esquivel. She's an author and mental health activist. No stranger to you guys. We've also had her on the show multiple times before. In the middle, we have Miss Maureen Leslie. Now, she was the first woman deputy commissioner of police. And I won't lie to you guys, she has a lot of stories to tell. And then also, no stranger to you guys as well, Miss Lita Crone. She's an educator in Belizean history and culture.
Yes.
A dynamic lineup. Ladies,
good morning.
it's a pleasure having you all here.
Yes, of course. I think that where we need to start is the theme of our conversation this morning, women who gave so that we could gain. So basically you all walked so we could run, right? And first of all, I think I can speak on behalf of all the women in Belize from our generation specifically. Thank you so much. And I already get emotional. But I think that for the audience and for our viewers, that please do chime in the comments. Let us know some of questions that you might have for our ladies here this morning. We want to engage with all of you. But I think it's important for our viewers to get to know you a little bit better. Sabrina said your titles, but perhaps maybe talk a little bit about your experiences, your years of working not just in your fields, but trying to make a name for yourselves, and basically have this wonderful legacy that you do now. Let's start with you, Miss Kathy. I know I see you say, you kind of like jump a little bit just now, but I do believe that there is a lot of weight.
I don't think any of us set out to do what you're saying. We just set out to be ourselves. And yeah, I mean, if it's turned out good, that's good. But I don't know about anyone else, but I don't think any of us set out to be leaders in a field. We just saw something. Well, in terms of mental health, I saw something that was lacking, something that I feel passionate about. So I've continued. And writing, I just like to write.
How about you, Miss Leslie?
I always love uniform. And so when I was in fifth form at St. Hilda's College, graduating in 71, I decided that I wanted to work anywhere that was at the time in uniform. And so we had a guest speaker one time, a police officer, a female officer. She came in and I said, "Oh, she's so beautiful in her uniform." And that's where I'm going. So I did that for 35 years. Yeah, so.
Miss Crone.
Well, my journey in history started out with someone knowing more about my own country that wasn't from here, and that just pissed me off. Why did this person know more about my own country? We were going into the era of independence, and I was feeling, you know, bushy-tailed and whatever the thing is from college and everything, and I wanted to be part of the scene. And I just started reading Belizean studies, took a course with Father Bueller in Belizean history this summer. I was pregnant, and it was just, I felt that I had to know more than this person. And so, and what I knew, I wanted to tell everybody.
Yeah.
So I wanted the story to be from Belizean, not from somebody else, you know.
Yeah.
So
You know, what I really admire about what each of you ladies just identified is that it wasn't necessarily driven by being female. It was your own personal passions that was within you. Miss Kathy said that she didn't aspire to leave a legacy. She just wanted to be her authentic self and push towards things that she enjoyed. Miss Leslie, you said you just love uniform and you wanted to see yourself in that role as well. And of course, Miss Lita, you aspired to learn more and to show that you knew about what you were passionate about as well. But the conversation this morning, we want to get a little bit deeper than that, because back then, I imagine there were several blocks in front of you that stopped you from pursuing those things that you were individually passionate about because of the era that it was at that time. Let's go to you, Miss Leslie, because when we think of a woman in uniform, we think of the security forces in particular. You were a police officer.
Yes.
I imagine at that time, extremely male-dominated.
Extremely. When I applied, we had like about 400 to 500 female applicants. And they only wanted 3 in the first instance. Then they went to 4, then they went to 5, and we ended up with 6. 5 of us completed the training. And like what you said, we're about 12, I think we had at that time when I passed out. So it was totally male-dominated. Imagine being told practically your first day of training that we don't want any more females. And I got that for the next 20 years of my career. That wherever, most places where I'm posted, they don't want you, they say they don't need you. But I love a challenge.
Yeah.
And the
That's
minute you tell me no, I'm going there, girl. So I decided that I'm going to prove myself, I'm going to excel.
Yeah.
All the challenges, I embraced everything, and I decided I'm in here for the long haul. I wanted my pension.
Passing out at that time and being a part of, that small population of women that were selected to be in the Belize Police Department. Tell me about the roles that were given to you. Were they still kind of like female, let's put her to the job
girl,
type?
One of the biggest roles was to make coffee.
Oh.
And I didn't like coffee.
So you were they still wanted to domesticate you?
Yes. Before I went into police, I used to work at Belize Telephones upstairs of the old City Council building. So when I passed out of the training school, I was given the same work again, radio control and the switchboard. That was not my thing. That's why I didn't remain at Belize Telephones. And then I was posted at headquarters, and I remember a commissioner had 2 British guests, and I was instructed to make coffee. And I told my NCO, I don't drink coffee, I don't like coffee, I can't make coffee. And he said, Dobbs, you have to make it. So I said, okay. I gave him a little tea set, these little British cups, little small things.
Saucer.
Yes, and I asked him, I said, how much coffee do I put in here? And he said, I don't know, just put it in. So I took 3 scoops of coffee.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you wanted to give him that energy.
Nobody said anything. Wow. So I put 3 scoops of coffee. The little cups were like that.
Yes.
And then I put in the hot water. And
Espresso.
I took the tray to him. He took 1 sip, and everything just splattered on the table. And I got my first immediate transferred.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you didn't make the coffee right.
Properly or right, I don't know.
But
I didn't enlist to be.
And that wasn't in the police
No,
training.
that's nothing. It's not in the laws at all.
Other duties, that might come along. It's often on the.
I could imagine so that they're trying to domesticate you, but also you are, trying to show them that you are well and capable, but they're not giving you the opportunity.
So
right.
you had to kick down doors.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm a Libra, so I love challenges. You kick down the doors, and you kick down the door, and you kick down the door, and...
How many doors did you have to kick
Oh,
down?
girl, do we have time for another 2 weeks?
Well, Ms. Kathy, I want to go over to you because you also, you have such an extensive background in not only mental health, but you know, being a partner to someone that was very instrumental to Belize's history as well. What was it like for you, though, in terms of the area that you were passionate about, talking about mental health, I imagine, which was very taboo back then? We're now seeing it pick up, becoming more of a buzzword. People are talking more about what they're feeling. But for you, representing yourself as, you know, a woman and also with us.
It started, well, not the passion, but the activity. I was asked to go on a First Ladies conference, and I actually hate that whole idea. In fact, I was invited to a First Ladies conference in St. Lucia, and they made the mistake of asking me to talk. And mostly these things are so boring. You know, people read out the technocratic. Well, I didn't have a speechwriter, so it was a bit of a change. So in St. Lucia, I mentioned that the whole idea of First Ladies is anti-feminist. And if women were in charge, would we have a First Gentleman Club? And would they talk about military matters? Because that's what men like. Why should they assume that because we're women, we like children? I mean, we do, but
it's an assumption.
you know, we might have other interests. So they said, oh, are you coming back next year? I said, no. Anyway, so another one I went on was to Rosalind Carter, had a meeting about mental health. Now, she was dedicated to that. But again, all the speeches were technocratic. But I spoke from experience because my husband and I were basically the caregivers to his mentally challenged brother who was schizophrenic. So I spoke from experience. And again, it was kind of a change because everyone else was, oh, my government is doing this. And yeah, nice, but boring. So the people there said, well, you have to do something. And they encouraged me to start what was then the Mental Health Advisory Board. So I suppose being in that position gave me the opportunity to do things that maybe I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do otherwise. But I think this whole idea of political wives is, it's difficult because you lose yourself. You're not yourself, you're somebody's wife.
Yeah. It removes your own personal identity.
Yeah. No, I must say, I was lucky. I got one of the good men, and he never treated me in that way. But yeah, it can be challenging. I feel especially sorry for women that have to stand behind their men who are accused of having affairs, and they have to stand there saying, oh no, I support my husband.
Wow.
I hope they drop ground glass in his food when they get home.
Wow. Miss Nita, hi, how you doing?
Challenges, right?
Yes.
Well, once I learned what I had learned about Belizean history, I was on a campaign. So Father Bueller, I was teaching at Palotti. You were teaching at Palotti.
Yeah, we taught together.
Yeah, and he said, I want you to teach Caribbean history. I said, but I don't know. He said, you're going to keep one chapter ahead of these guys. And I just went into that thing with a passion. I wanted people to know about what happened in Haiti. People don't know what happened in Haiti, the history. And I feel that once you know your history, your identity, that's what you have to pass on. It's not the dates, it's not all these things, it's how you're making your students feel about themselves. That was important. And to me, in teaching Belizean history, you are delving deep into yourself. Yeah. You have to find out who you are, because I had to fight to get Belizean history a book that was written in the 70s. My headmaster, he was not a Jesuit, said, I am going to burn those books. I said, no, and we're not going to have those books in this book, at the bookshop. So I said, okay, because I already made myself the head of the history department. No degree, just barged in
just
there.
anointed.
Yeah, self-anointed.
Self-proclaimed, yes.
Yeah, and I said, well, they're going to buy it at other bookstores, and we had that book, and I don't know, it was a it was a pleasure teaching and inspiring these young men, and so that's been what it is. I also had to look up, I mean, in the papers, history as propaganda. That was a editorial. That's how Belizean history, we had to fight to get the story, our point of view, our Belizean point of view.
Yeah.
Narda Dobson was good. She was pretty good. That was the first book I had read, but it didn't give you our story.
Yeah.
You know.
I know that April wants to jump in, but I just want to say something really quickly before I pass it over to you. For me, hearing your individual experiences, kind of, I feel so honored to be here in your presence. But in a way, I kind of feel upset at the same time because, ladies, you're here with us, which means that history isn't so long ago.
No. No.
And just hearing some of the stories that were shared ahead of actually having this conversation at this time, I really think that we should recognize how short of a history that is that we are acknowledging at this time.
No, I wanted to give a comment from one of our viewers, and it's a young man. His name is Tyler Smith. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Tyler.
And he said, absolutely love to see Miss Leslie.
Yeah.
Never had the pleasure of knowing her, but I joined the police service almost a decade after she retired. But her impact and legacy left behind is so clear, and her name and what she stood for is still alive and well.
Wow.
Thank you, Tyler.
And so and this is from a young man,
Yeah.
right? So I really appreciate that comment comes from somebody that long after you've
Never met him.
never met him, but it's clear that your door kicking worked, right? And those challenges that you're talking about or you were explaining to us, it did create waves even if you didn't get to see it in your time. So I really wanted to talk a little bit about some of those challenges because like Sabrina said, we were sitting and listening and just completely flabbergasted because that I would hope that no longer exists, right? But for 5 women trying to just be good police officers and just give your service, being in a space that tells you they don't want you. How do you even begin to navigate somebody that says, you there because you have to be here? You there because they say, I need a woman here, but I don't need you here, I don't want you here. How do you navigate a space like that? It's almost like a toxic relationship.
Yeah, growing up, I'm a very quiet person growing up. I'm what you call a soft pop growing up. I love to read. Mills and Boone, Barbara Catalan, those.
Yes.
You would know about those,
Oh, no,
right?
I do.
Yeah, you do?
Yes.
All right. But my mother, Mrs. Louise Bevans, she was a very, very strong woman. And she thought that if she pushed me into police, it would help me to open up a bit and thing. And so I enlisted. But as you mentioned, they didn't want us. At that time, they didn't want us. And every obstacle that you can think about was placed in front of us. And it came with a cost because at one time I was at CIB. I had some very good colleagues there. I had Oreo, I had Lino.
Them?
Hey, no, hey. Yeah, those are my girls. Yeah.
Look at that. Wow.
Yeah, that's Miss Hall.
What do you think when you see those photos?
Oh, I miss the days. I miss those days.
But what you were telling us out there about
I miss those
how many
days.
children?
Yes, oh yeah. We were only allowed 3 maternity leaves. 3 maternity leaves.
So you don't limit it to how many kids you
Yes,
can have.
and I was married, and I couldn't tell my husband I can only have 3 kids. And so I ended up with kid number 4. And that's when the problem really dug in, because I didn't qualify for a maternity leave. I had already used up 3. So I didn't get any maternity leave. I got 2-week short leave, and in 2 weeks' time I was back at work.
After having your baby.
After having my baby, and that's when I had a hemorrhage situation in front of the Royal Bank of Canada one time, and it was embarrassing, but it was reality. And I mean, there were so many negative that, because I'm amongst ladies here, I can't mention some of them, but it was really difficult. The thing is, I wanted to succeed. So I work in any department, any branch, any unit. I believe for the department, I didn't work maritime. Those are the boat guys. Yeah. I didn't work maintenance. Those are the vehicle repair guys. And I did work the tactical unit. But every other branch, every other section I worked in, and I enjoyed every time, despite the obstacles.
Yeah.
They were countless.
But you almost died because they said you were only allowed 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I'm still baffled by that, because you are literally like, okay, I'm going to give my service to you regardless, but I want to live my life. I am a woman and I can live my life, but you are limiting
It wasn't
me.
like that, because another example is that the law allows for police officers, married police officers, to get a marriage allowance. I got married in 74. I applied in 74. I got my allowance in 86.
14 years.
Because I was told by the commissioner that I'm not the head of the household. And so I didn't qualify. And every other 2 months I would write until one time I think in 86, the commissioner said I was a real pain in his whatever. And he approved my marriage allowance, right? And in the same pen, he transferred me.
Wow. And that would have been a common theme for you. You would be transferred a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
I got transferred.
Retroactive.
No, I didn't
That's
get
the same question I asked Miss
No,
Kathy.
No, it wasn't retroactive. On top of that, I didn't get a penny because I was transferred to the academy. And the academy provided quarters.
Oh boy.
So I didn't.
So they found a loophole.
I never got a. And then thereafter, because of all the complications with that, they changed it from marriage allowance to housing allowance.
Yeah.
And so everybody got it afterwards.
You know, it's so amazing to hear. It's outrageous and amazing at the same time to hear some of the stories that you are describing, Ms. Maureen, because we have you here as the first deputy commissioner
yes.
the first female deputy commissioner of police.
Yeah. And why is it she only got to deputy?
Ooh, everybody know the answer to that.
I know.
But when you think of all it took to get to that point, I imagine you had the capability to do that a long time before, to be in that position a long time before. Tell me about that journey leading up to that position of having that level of leadership. What do you think it took for you to be seen as capable in that role?
When I got to Belmopan in 81, we had one senior officer, Miss Henry. She was an inspector. And then we had, she was a sergeant, and then we had Miss Murray as a corporal. And I wanted to get my promotion. And it didn't matter what I said, what I did. There was no vacancy because it was locked. Only one, and there was no vacancy for me. And so one time I remember meeting with the PS for Home Affairs. And I asked him, I said, PS, with due respect, I said, why can't you open the availability ranking for females? Because I want to get to the top as far as I can get, and I'm not moving. I'm in one rank for nearly 12 years. And then he said, so what, you want to kill the next two?
So
dramatic,
said, yes, my goodness.
And I said, good heavens, no, sir. I said, I'm just saying, open it up, open it up. And then little after that, they did open it up.
But was it restricted only for females? Like, was it that there's only this many places for females? Or was it that there's just this many places?
It was open, you know.
Oh, it was
It was open, it's just that it was very difficult to get there.
Right.
Because most of the places will tell you, we don't really need a female, right? So you have to fight, and the more I fought with them, the more it's okay, go.
Yeah.
And go. And every time they say go, I prove myself. And then they started to say, okay, just maybe she could, you know. But they tried to set you because I was transferred to be the commander in charge in San Ignacio, in fact, the entire Cayo district. And I was told secretly by a commander that they want you to fail. So they send you there. We have never had a female in charge of a district.
Yeah.
I didn't fail. I worked 20 hours a day.
I'm curious to understand the challenges from our other ladies, because it seems like it's very much in this space of, it's a male-dominated field. We don't want females because, I don't know. And I wonder then if the system set up that way for the rest of you. You know?
I don't think it was like that at SJC. I was a female at an all-boys school. The Jesuits were very, very progressive. And so they wanted, you know, someone passionate about what they were doing and stuff like that. So in that sense, no, I didn't have that challenge.
Yeah.
So I was blessed in that there were other challenges in other fields and in other activities that I pursued.
Yeah.
In politics, for example, there were challenges, but we won't go there.
Well, I want to go to Ms. Kathy, because at the time, I imagine you had several opportunities to see, you know, through the lens of a woman, what the experiences was like, being involved so very close to politics, but also looking at other women, trying to advocate for women as well, using your own voice that you, and your own platform that you were given. Hearing these ladies' experience, and also perhaps what you were experiencing at the time, what crosses your mind?
Well, actually, I was chair of the National Women's Commission at that point, and we did, we got funding to have a consideration of why women are not involved at the policy level in politics. They're involved in making the coffee or the tamales or whatever, fundraising. And we had an interesting study, and these things are still happening, you know, and in fact I have put in white papers up to now. Nobody listens, that's all right. But it's the whole political setup. This first past the post, it doesn't work for women. The only countries in the world that have significant female participation have some form of proportional representation. Because, and this is international. You know, they say, oh, well, in the States, but even in the States, the percentages. But I have put into the constitutional reform I've written, but I don't think, but I am convinced that while you have the setup, because women, they can't get the financial or other support. They don't go to the bars to meet and talk to, I mean, you know, they say in many places, political decisions get made on the golf course,
Or
or in the bars. And if you are not there, so I do think that it's institutional. It's not necessarily individual people.
Yeah.
And I think in order to make changes, you have to look at the institutions.
I love that because we had a conversation with Minister Tara Ramirez yesterday, and asking kind of about those same things, because policy is just that, right? It's policy unless it's made into law. Then it's not going to necessarily work, and there will be no enforcement. But ladies, as we are coming down, and I really hate that our panel has been cut down, but I would maybe like to open the floor to maybe give you guys each a chance and an opportunity to give a statement, or just maybe talk about what being now a woman and watching the progress today, and how what that has meant to you. You've fought a good fight, and I think we're still fighting that fight for you. So, yes, Kathy?
Well, I think you have to be authentic, you have to kick down doors, but I want to talk to young men as well, because they are also in a position of not knowing what their role is. So I think we have to approach both young men and young women to look at what their roles can be. Because if you move one foot without the other, you fall over. And young men are in trouble, because, you know, if the only reason you were up was because someone else was down, then when that person comes up, so I do think you need to look at it holistically. It doesn't have to be men against women, but there have to be roles for both.
Ms. Maureen?
Yeah, there's so much to say. Policing is one of the better careers. And if the good Lord send me back, I will
You do it again?
do it again. A lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges, but a lot of benefits, because I went to I did about 25 overseas training.
Wow.
And I got tired of traveling after a while. You learn a lot. You communicate a lot with people, with local people, with complaints. The magic for me was when people come to you with this big mountain of problems, and you can just pick up the phone and call one person, and that is gone like magic, right? Some of the disadvantages for me were my children. They went to a lot of schools. They lost a lot of friends. They got frustrated. But my objective was to get us to the top as much as I could. As the first female deputy, I had an excellent commissioner, Mr. Westby. We worked very, very well. He didn't close any doors on me. He just said, "Deputy, it's your show," and I was allowed to run with it. At that time, I had a good minister too, Mr. Fonseca, the past, and they listened a lot, and they were open to discussions. I was allowed to sit at the table, and I did a lot of decision making, follow the process. But policing, guys, for me, it's one of the best. When I listed, we had about 12 females total. I think we're about 500 and something now.
Saw the parade.
Yes.
All these women.
Oh, I got cold feet. I wanted so much to be in it, not to watch it. But it is so satisfying. It gives that level of satisfaction to be there every day helping people. 'Cause that's the role of the police, to work with the community and making life a little bit safer for everybody. So I wish I could have shared some more experiences, but
we'll bring you back.
That's the way it is.
And Miss Lita?
Well, I haven't thrown in the hat, as they've said, because last year I did In Defense of History, and I'm continuing to do that. And I can say I inspired, or maybe he just got a little jealous. Assad Schumann is going to do his tour history tour this year. So we are keeping it alive and well, and I think it's so important that we know where we came from, who we are, and where the hell are we going.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's a beautiful closing statement right there. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us and having this conversation with us. People are locked in. We have a viewer saying this is an amazingly interesting conversation. They can't stop watching.
Good.
But we do have to take another quick break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, you guys get an opportunity to call in and share your thoughts on local